on Government Order of the Day number 1.
Education Polytechnics Amendment Bill, third reading.
The Honourable Anne Tolley. The Honourable Anne Tolley.
I move that the Education Politics Amendment Bill be now read a third time. Mr Speaker, this bill introduces new legal arrangements which will enable Polytech councils and the Crown to respond decisively and appropriately to the educational and financial challenges facing the sector. The new arrangements need to be in place as soon as possible to give the reconstituted councils time to start addressing the financial pressures on their polytechnics. I wish therefore to thank the members of the Education and Science Select Committee for their consideration of this bill within a shortened time frame. I wish also to acknowledge the hard work of officials, Select Committee staff, Parliamentary Council in progressing this bill. This national-led government is committed to establishing a world-leading education system, one which equips New Zealanders with the knowledge, skills and values to be successful citizens in the 21st century. A key priority is the development of high-quality, relevant and efficient tertiary education provision which meets the needs of students, employers and the economy. The Polytechnics sector has an important role to play within the tertiary education system as the primary provider of vocational education and training opportunities for New Zealanders. It is critical, therefore, that New Zealand has well-governed polytechnics which are educationally sound and financially viable. At present, educational performance across the polytech sector varies from good to poor. Of concern to this government are the 6 polytechnics, there's no pictures, whose educational performance has been identified as poor. Indications are that without major changes, these polytechnics will be unable to achieve significant improvements over the medium to long term in the quality of education provided to students. Historically, financial performance has also varied across the polytechnic sector for a number of reasons. Some polytechs have not managed costs within revenue. Others have faced increased competition from private providers. Regional polytechnics have been unable to take advantage of economies of scale because of a decline in their local population base. Since 2005-2006, the sector has received $416 million in extraordinary funding to address issues of poor financial performance. Despite such assistance, there are 6 polytechnics which will not be financially viable in 2011. There are a further 6 who can become financially viable, but only through compromising educational quality. Across the board, polytechnics are not living within their means. In 2008, polytechnics spent on average $1,131 for every $1,000 of core income earned. Given the tight financial environment within which this government has to operate, the polytechnic sector can no longer rely on additional funding being made available to address financial viability issues. Rapid, innovative and decisive action will need to be taken by polytechnic councils and the Crown to address the educational and financial challenges facing the sector. The Education Polytechnics Amendment Bill establishes new legal arrangements which provide polytech councils and the Crown with greater decision-making flexibility. For the benefit of the House, I will reiterate the bill's objectives. This bill's first objective is to improve the governance capability and effectiveness of polytechnic councils. The second objective is to allow the Crown to more effectively respond to the risks posed by polytechnics with educational or financial performance issues. This bill introduces new governance arrangements for polytechnics with the aim of building the capability of councils for decisive and responsive decision-making. As a number of submitters commented, a reduction in the size of Polytechnic councils from the current 12 to 20 members would be of considerable benefit. From 1 May 2010, or earlier if circumstances require, Polytech councils will consist of 8 members only. Each Polytech council will comprise 4 ministerial appointees and 4 council appointees. Again, I thank the Education and Science Committee for its recommendation that councils be given the discretion to appoint 4 members. This pragmatic approach recognises the advantages of giving a Polytech council greater flexibility to tailor its composition to reflect the particular needs and interests of its community. It will also enable the responsible minister to appoint the chairperson and deputy chairperson from potentially amongst all 8 members instead of only 5. Under the bill, there will be a new emphasis on achieving and maintaining good governance practices. Appointments to Polytech councils are to be made on the basis of relevant skills and experience, especially governance experience. Council members will be expected to comply with new individual duties which reflect the primary obligation of members to act in the interests of the Polytech as a whole. The introduction of such duties was welcomed by submitters. This government regards the need for adherence to good governance practices as a serious matter. It's important, as demonstrated through members being made accountable to both the responsible minister and the Polytech Council itself for breaches of the new individual duties. A feature of this bill is the collaborative governance arrangements, which include the formation of a combined council governing 2 or more Polytechs. The decision to enter into such an arrangement is a voluntary one to be made by each participating council. The inclusion of collaborative governance arrangements within the bill enables councils to consider innovative solutions to future governance issues and ensures that the legislation will not pose a barrier to their implementation. The Education Polytechs Amendment Bill also addresses the Crown's ability to respond appropriately and in a timely manner when individual polytechnics are at risk educationally or financially. On the passage of the bill, an extended interventions framework will come into effect for the Polytech sector, one of which provides for a gradually escalating series of responses to situations of risk. A number of miscellaneous amendments are included in this bill. The most significant are those enabling the Manukau Institute of Technology to establish a tertiary high school from the beginning of 2010. I'm delighted at the endorsement that the proposal for a trial project received from submitters and members of the Select Committee. This government is committed to reducing the numbers of 15 to 19-year-olds who are leaving school early and without adequate qualifications. The operation of a tertiary high school is a significant step, and I thank members of the House for their support. Mr Speaker, I am pleased to commend the Education Polytechnics Amendment Bill to the House.
Members, the question is that the motion be agreed to. I call the Honourable Marion Street.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.